Okay, welcome everyone. So it's been a while since I've had an update on this channel. The whole entire point of the Band of Brothers box to board was supposed to be the walkthrough and my daily adventures, we'll call them, with going through the Band of Brothers box set, getting it onto the table. Well, that didn't quite go as planned. They're on the table. And I did a lot of video. Didn't finish editing it all. Got a little lazy when it came to the editing part. And then ran into a little snafu where my laptop got stolen. So, long story short, all the footage is lost. So here's what we've got. I've got the Band of Brothers starter box set complete with a few caveats. For example, you know some of these guys are very shiny. I've not gloss coated all my Germans yet, simply because I want to do some more details on them. I wanted to add more rank to them and more insignias, and I didn't want to dull coat them until I'm done. A few of them have been dull coated; those guys are done, and I can show you examples of them real fast versus the shiny guys. What I have got is I've got my lieutenant, and I built these pretty much as the box depicted, with his riflemen to accompany him. Here is the lieutenant. A little bit of detail on him. He just got out of surgery. He was decapitated last game. He took a fall and landed on his head and snapped his head off. That's my fault because I painted him, then glued his head on, and obviously the paint didn't stick to the neck as it should have, and the glue joint was technically paint on paint. My fault. Live and learn. Next time, do a little sanding or filing before I do that. But here he is done. He does have a very detailed stripe around his hat. Not my best paint job, but keep in mind I've not painted minis before. Well, I take that back. I painted minis back in the 80s with D&D Ralpartha minis, which were probably actually led back then using testers, enamel paints, whole different animal, whole different world. So basically these are my first minis, and actually these are my second. I did paint the Airborne first and had them on table. I was playing with these guys. Unpainted. I'll tell you, they do play better painted. The myth of painted minis don't or play better appears to be true in this case. And then I also have 2 squads of 5 per the Band of Brothers example set, which is a NCO with machine gun, mini machine gun, loader with rifle. Rifle with Panzerfaust, rifle with Panzerfaust. I do believe the Panzerfaust were not listed in the book. I went ahead and took the liberty to add the Panzerfaust, simply because that's the points I would have taken, so I did change that up a little bit. And then on the other side, I've got, as I said, NCO with machine gun, rifle, and then 2 assault rifles in the back. So I did do those. I tried to give some ranking to my NCOs. He's a little shiny still. He's not been dull coated yet. He does have some collar details and then the stripe all the way around the back of his collar. Is that correct or not? Not sure. That was the example I had, so that's what I went with. Did give him a soft cap just to make him a little more identifiable, just in case I end up with more machine gunners in my squad at a future date. He's based up, ready to go. The other thing too is I didn't have bases for these guys for the longest time. I just had them on plain bases, so I didn't even have them based, even after painted. Other rifleman, nothing exciting about him. Here is one of the riflemen with the is it Zeltband it's called? The tent, the camouflage tent on. Hard to see in this lighting that he is camouflaged. But it is done in a really poor version of Splinter. Hopefully it looks better on camera than it does through the viewfinder. It is very dark in here. The sun is going down and I'm using only natural light. Sorry about that. I missed the magic moment for lighting. Here's one of the assault riflemen. He does have helmet insignias on him since he has helmet, and it does look like a really bad flash line, which isn't really noticeable to the naked eye, and except for this light is really bringing it out. He does have arm ranking on him. He looks like he's good to go. Just looking for this guy here. You can see his camouflage better. He also has ranking on his arm, and he also has helmet insignias from the Fallschirmjäger stickers, which obviously didn't come with this set. And then he also, this guy's had a few kills with his Panzerfaust. He does have the, don't know if you can see it in the shine here. Hopefully it comes out. But it looks like he's got 6 kills, 1 gold and 1 silver, it looks like. Or is that 1, yeah, 1 gold, 1 silver. So I think that's 6 kills with Panzerfaust. So here is my machine gunner running with his MG42. He's also in Splinter. Not much to say about him. Again, hopefully the light helps. Here's my other NCO. This guy's too good for a helmet apparently. He does have one on his back. He definitely needs a dull coating. He is shiny. He's also the only guy I think I did in gray pants. Everyone else has field grau or the greener pants. This guy ended up with I think these were painted in Luftwaffe gray. Luftwaffe. And pardon my pronunciation. I'm sure someone will correct me on it. One thing I don't like is that when I went ahead and glossed them all up and dull coated them or glossed them up, I lost a lot of the face detail. There was more detail in their faces. Did lose that. This guy does have collar insignias. I don't know if it's showing up or not for his ranking, and he does have the stripe all around the back too for my NCO. I think those are the only guys that really have any sort of painted on insignias or ranking. Somehow I ended up with an extra guy, so I actually have 1 extra here. Apparently I couldn't count when I pulled them out of the bin. So yes, I do have some other guys in other stages of painting. Also, we do have the Henna Mag. Forgot about that back there. Let's move these guys out of the way. Here is my Henna Mag. Got a little bit of weathering on it. I did not put the spare tire on the front. I've yet to see a picture of a prototype one with a spare on the front, so that's something you probably won't see me doing. Looks like I do have one of the water cans, or one of the jerry cans should be denoted as water, it looks like. I did not glue the loader in on this. At some point I'll probably end up magnetizing him and sticking him in there. One reason why is because with him being removable, this is only magnetized on, so it does go on and off and allows you to aim it but stay in there. Is I have the gun shield separate. Oh, by the way, this one is magnetized. I don't know where the gun is, but I do have to glue it on there. And I did pick this guy up to go in here, so I can swap it out if I choose to use this as a machine gun variant, even though it does have the ammo in the back seat. Also, just for transportability and for reliability, so I don't break it. Reliability for transport safety, not sure to say. Playability. By not gluing the gun in, less chance I'm going to snap it off. Although I'm probably going to lose this antenna. I've already lost one on another one. And then I had done a video. Oops, and it sounds like my air compressor just kicked off in the next room. Sorry about that, guys. So let's wrap this up. On to the Americans. Okay, continuing on, we have the U.S. Airborne. One thing you might notice right away is that while they're supposed to be the M43 uniforms, I painted them as M42s. I kind of wanted to do as they landed in Normandy. Since this is Band of Brothers, I painted it like the 101st Airborne from Band of Brothers in the beginning of the series. I believe during the series they switched to M43s by the end of it. But I wanted to go ahead and paint these with M42s. If you might recall, we do have two box sets. So the other box set I'm going to paint as M43s and make them 82nd Airborne, while these are Screaming Eagle 101st. Also to be said, though, since I have finished these and have been playing with them, the local game shop that had the Screaming Eagles box set had it 50% off one day. I guess Warlords discontinued it and they were getting rid of their stock of old stuff. And I now have a box set plus a few individual metal Airbornes that are in the M42s. So don't know what I'm going to do with this squad. I'll probably just keep playing them like this and just mix them in with my 82nd as, throughout the entire campaign. Some people did keep their older uniforms, so I'm just going to mix them in. Don't really care. Makes them a little more identifiable as opposed to my other bolt-action Americans. My Rangers and my Infantry look very similar. These guys with the shoulder pads and stuff and knee pads do look a little different and unique. So here they are. I do have my lieutenant. I guess technically he would be Lieutenant Winters, not sure. Did not give him any sort of pack, so again, hard to see with the glossiness. He does have the stripe up and down the back of his helmet. Might have made it a little too narrow. Maybe I'll go back and widen that up one day. Right now, don't really care. Although it looks like he's leaning backwards. He might have gotten a little crushed in transportation. And then he has, I think he was supposed to have one machine gun or one submachine gun and one rifleman to accompany him. For some reason I have him with that. Although I do have an extra, the box set does give you one extra infantry guy. I think I just made him submachine gunner out of that extra guy, so who knows. Looks like this guy might have been flat varnished already. Not all of them have been flat varnished. Most of them are still shiny. I did get a banana base or a oval base for this guy to go on it. Again, I did take my time painting these. Not saying it's a great paint job, but for me, it's a good paint job. They've got some detail in them. We got the elbows and stuff on them. The webbing does vary from model to model. I did not paint them all the same. Some are olive drab, some are khaki, some are other greens. Don't remember what I used anymore. I did paint the soles of the boots a different color on pretty much all of them. Whether or not you could see the soles, I did paint the edges. I do have, they all have spade decals on the sides of their helmets, and the Screaming Eagle logos. Now, at the time, Warlord was sold out. I guess they were transitioning from the old school decals that were, one set was 82nd and one set was 101st, to now one combined set, which were not available when I was painting these. So these are Company B decals. Here's another example. So they are the Company B helmet decals and shoulder decals. The shoulder decals are great. The helmet decals are very crisp too, but they're a little bit large. I will admit they are big for both reality and for the compared to Warlords. But You know what? If they were much smaller, you probably wouldn't even notice them. They just look like a white dot. So I don't mind that they're oversized at all. Lets me see my 101st real fast. I can see on their helmets they have them. I'm just trying to find a guy that has netting on. The netting guys, they do have weathering over the decal, so the decal is kind of hidden behind the netting. I went and painted the netting lines back on. Hopefully you can see, or I dry brushed it. It looks like this guy has some different colored stuff on him, as I was mentioning, and you can see that I did paint the soles a different color, and I did probably paint the boots wrong, don't care. As I said, I was trying to make this look like the M42 uniform, even though it's an M43, so I did take some liberties with it. Very happy with how these came out. They may not be the best paint jobs that you'll see out there, but they're good for me, considering, as I said, I haven't painted anything in decades. Here is the spotter. Not so happy with the binoculars. I thought they were great at the time. Since then, I have improved how I do this sort of thing. This is actually just blue paint for those. A couple different shades of blue built up to a lighter dot. Since then, I now do something different. I now paint them silver and then use blue washes to get the more realistic metal look, or glassy look, I should say. And that's how I did those. Again, you can see there's some different colors in the webbing on this guy, so they're not all the same. Does have the pistol on him. Most of them, I do have all the knives in use for those that I could give them to. This guy's got one of the knives on his ankle. And I pretty much used all the webbing and supplies I could put on these guys, show like they are ready for a long haul or a long battle. I did consider not putting the stuff on the backs, just for, running around for combat use. During combat they do tend to drop their bag and come back for it. Didn't do that for these guys. Oh, for the spotter, I do have a carbine for him. It is not attached to him. I was going to glue it like draped across his knee, like he set it down to use his binoculars. I still have to do that. In the meantime, every game I've played with him, that's just sort of been bouncing around the table. Here is the medium machine gun team. Sort of dug in behind a log. Did do a little bit of kit bashing here. I did cut the lid on the one ammo crate and put it closed. On this one, I actually add some more extra ammo to the one and have it drooping down the side, which you can't really see here. But these guys are in use. Originally, I had the loader magnetized so I can pull him out in case of combat. Well, ended up now just building a banana base with a single guy, and I'll just swap him out if I lose one guy, instead of dealing with that. Simply because it looked really weird with the ammo crate sitting there and no ammo being fed into the gun. So I went ahead and just ended up gluing that guy down instead of magnetizing him. I'm very happy with how these turned out. I think this guy's still shiny. I thought this would be a gloss varnish one. Oh, this one's also had a slight modification too. On this one, you'll see that the clip has been cut off, or the magazine, sorry, has been cut off of the Thompson, and it's in his other hand for a little bit of action. So he's running and reloading for this guy. Not really noticeable, but it's the little things like that that make me, enjoy the hobby and the modeling portion. There's a few little details like that I've went ahead and done. Let me push these off, and there is still one more piece of the Band of Brothers set, which is the Ruined Farmhouse. Let me push this off and show you where I'm at with that. Okay, here are the Ruined Farmhouse. It ended up becoming two pieces. That doesn't work very well. Let me just move that out. So here's the first one. They are not done being painted, but I have been using them. I don't like how big the bases are. Next time I do these, I want to use a smaller footprint for the base. But here's where it is currently. It definitely needs a little more painting on the woodwork, the plaster, things like that. Woodwork, the plaster and details, stonework I meant. It's been inked a few times. It's got extra debris and rubble put in there. Some pieces of balsa wood to represent wood. I'll probably end up adding some more in the end. And obviously it needs basing, as in foliage. The dirt is very textured in there. It's done with plaster and sand, and I don't remember. It's been so long since I put this together. I put this together very first. Don't remember what's all in there. Originally, I was going to use kitty litter for the rubble bits, but I thought that because it's clay, getting wet in building it, it might break apart or dissolve. So I ended up using ground up cork or broken up cork. Honestly, I think it's Army Painter cork. Here's a good example of it, all right there on the edge. So there's a big mess of it right there. And I just painted it after it was on. Again, I think the footprint is too big for this. For table, next time I'll do less. I guess I thought I was going to put more details around the edges, and I might still put a lot of shrubbery, so who knows, maybe I'll change my mind later. So you see I've thrown some extra boards down in there, which is just some strip balsa. I'll probably end up adding more in the end. I did do a detail of a tank track through the mud. And again, this one needs more paint. It needs the stonework and brickwork or plasterwork detail a little more. I've repainted the wood more than once. Originally it was a very dark wood and it looked like it had been burned on the edges, and then I went ahead and went back and dry brushed it with I don't remember what I dry brushed it with. I think some sort of beige wood and ochre colors to try and get it a little more looking normal, or more like wood instead of charred mess. And I might still go back and just tap the edges with the airbrush to give it a little more of a singed look. Same thing around like the window sills. I guess there really isn't one on this one, but the upper window, maybe I might do a smoke effect or soot effect coming out of those. I'm not sure yet. I do have several more of these kits, so maybe I'll just save that endeavor for the next one. Don't really like how the chimney fits on these things, simply because you can see the chimney's hollow through the holes, which I guess a chimney would be hollow, but it's just too thin of a lip. I don't like it. I might go back and fill that in or just not care. Chances are I'm just going to not care. But that's where these are. Again, they're playable. They're not done. I'm going to probably build up the rest of them. I've got another one from the other band of brothers, and then somehow I picked up a D-Day firefight set for something like 20 bucks, and I bought it just for the plastics. So again, I believe that's got the same farmhouse in it, so I'll try and build that in yet a different configuration, and maybe I'll just do all those in one day. Sit down on a Saturday when the weather turns worse and go through it. One thing is that it is summer now, and I am spending less time with bolt action and more time being outside and enjoying the planet. And that's pretty much where I am. Sun's going down. I should hope to post some hobby updates shortly with some other details of where I'm at with the game. I do have a Conflict 47 Army going. In fact, if you look through the house, I think you can possibly see a jump walker back there. Actually, that's a nice frame. And then some other stuff going on too. I do have other vehicles and things assembled and running on my board or in my game that we can go over. There was a game shop going out of business, and I spent way too much money and ended up with some crazy amount of stuff. I think I bought all the Rubicon models they had. And then out of Canada for $150 US, I ended up with one of each of the conflict starter sets and the Soviet starter set. I had no intention of starting a Soviet army, but for $150 for the entire set, couldn't go wrong. And shipping was only a few bucks on that. Guy gave me a good deal on the shipping. I'm sure he lost money on the whole deal, but that's the way eBay works sometimes. And I won on that one. Got some other things to go about and put on the table. I definitely have more things I've painted and a lot of things that are still sitting naked that need painting. So there's definitely more to come, gentlemen and ladies. So stay tuned for some updates. See you guys soon.